introduction.
Thank you, Madam President. Over the past week, the Palestinian terrorist organization Hamas has launched more than 3,000 rockets at civilian targets in Israel. Violent mobs have taken over the streets of Jerusalem, and even seasoned veterans of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict have expressed shock at the intensity of the violence. This isn't normal. This isn't the Middle East version of the resistance. This is terrorism. Still, pro-Hamas activists have flooded the media with Instagram-friendly content condemning Israel for defending itself and questioning the legitimacy of Israel's very existence, which is an argument that, in any other context, would bring all hell down on the person foolish enough to say it out loud. The level of denial and misinformation about what is happening in Israel and why it is happening is appalling. Nearly every single member of the United Nations Security Council embarrassed themselves this weekend by embracing a generic draft statement condemning the violence, but refusing to acknowledge the hundreds of Hamas rockets that started it. The UN has a shameful history of ignoring threats and violence against Israel, but rarely in recent memory has the Security Council so blatantly regurgitated anti-Israel propaganda while Israeli civilians cower in fear under persistent rocket fire. Thankfully, the United States mission blocked the statement's release, but I think it's important to inject a little reality into the ongoing discussion. First, we must acknowledge that Israel has the absolute right to defend itself, no matter the state of their relations with the Palestinian Authority. There is a world of difference between a state-sponsored terrorist attack on a civilian population and action taken to stop that attack. We have a responsibility to counter the dangerous argument that because Hamas currently lacks the weapons capability to win this battle, Israel must stand by and allow terrorists to slaughter civilians. Second, I would encourage all of my colleagues to join me in making it clear that the United States is and will remain Israel's closest friend and ally. We will continue to assist with the development and production of advanced missile deterrent systems like the Iron Dome. We will not step away from that obligation simply because celebrity influencers would rather witness a slaughter than a proportionate response to mass terror. Last, it is important to acknowledge that this violence is a symptom of a much more serious disease. Hamas terrorists may be the ones launching rockets at civilians, but it is Iran, the world's leading state sponsor of terror, that is paying for it. That is right, Madam President, it is Iran, the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, that is footing the bill for these attacks. When we provide assistance and support to Israel, we're not just protecting an ally, we're containing the destructive influence of our most belligerent adversary in the Middle East. This month, the Biden administration traveled to Vienna to negotiate sanctions relief with Iranian officials. Since then, President Biden has also spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu and reaffirmed Israel's right to defend itself from these attacks. However, I would take this opportunity to remind my Democratic colleagues that the United States designated Hamas as a terrorist organization more than 20 years ago, That is right. For the past 2 decades, we have recognized Hamas as a terrorist organization. As a rule, we do not provide them assistance of any kind. They are a terrorist organization. But by opening the door to sanctions relief for Iran, we cannot help but enrich a regime that will not stop until it destroys Israel. That is their goal. We know it because they have told us that is their goal. We must not provide sanctions relief to Iran or give quarter to any regime that aligns itself with this evil. It is my hope that all Americans will take some time this week to just unplug and think about this and reflect and then pray. Pray that reason and wisdom will prevail as we seek an end to this outbreak of violence, as we seek an end of this terrorist group to destroy the nation of Israel.